Did you know there are 15 surprising ways God tries to connect with you that you probably never noticed? The truth can be shocking. From subtle signs to direct interventions, each of these methods is powerful proof that God is always by your side. You will discover how to recognize these signs and transform your life right now. Prepare yourself for a deep dive that will challenge your beliefs and reveal things you never imagined. Don't miss it. Every second of this video can change everything. Resources that arrive at the right time. Every new day brings a reminder that God takes care of us. He promises in Philippians 4:19 that He will meet all our needs through Christ. This is a promise that brings us hope, especially during difficult times. When we receive help, whether it's money, emotional, or spiritual support, just when we need it most, it may seem like a coincidence. But as Christians, we are encouraged to see God's hand in these moments. They are signs that He is with us, watching over us, and understanding our struggles. Think about that time a friend sent you a message that lifted your spirits when you felt alone, or when unexpected money arrived, just when a high bill appeared. These are moments that clearly show God's care. Psalm 33:18 says that God is always watching those who hope for Him. God not only observes but acts in our lives, arranging things in ways that help us, even if we don't realize it immediately. When this help arrives at the right moment, our reaction should be one of gratitude and recognition. Each assistance received is a chance to trust God more and worship Him with greater fervor. Let's then value these moments as true signs of God active in our lives. May this motivate us to live with more purpose and passion, firm in the faith that God always fulfills what He promises. Have you ever received help exactly when you needed it? Tell us in the comments. Feelings of deep peace. God speaks to us in many ways, and one of them is through the deep peace we feel after praying or reflecting. This peace is like a gift from Him, telling us that everything is okay. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:7. When we feel this peace, it's as if God places a shield around our hearts and minds, protecting us from the worries of the world. Imagine a difficult moment you went through. You felt lost, perhaps even desperate. Then you decide to stop and pray, seeking help and direction. After praying, an inexplicable calm arises. The problem hasn't disappeared, but the way you feel about it has completely changed. You feel you can face it. This change is the hand of God in action. Jesus said in John 14:27, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." The peace that Jesus gives us is different from anything the world can offer. It is a peace that deeply calms us and helps us face our challenges. Therefore, when you feel this peace after praying, remember that it is a clear sign that God is with you. He is speaking directly to your heart, offering comfort and clarity to face what lies ahead. Be thankful for these moments of peace. They are precious reminders that no matter what happens, God is in control and takes care of us. With this peace, we are stronger and can move forward with faith and confidence. Have you ever felt an inexplicable peace after praying? Share in the comments. Visions or visual manifestations, encounters with the divine. Sometimes, God chooses to speak to us in ways that transcend common understanding. Visions of lights or shapes that others cannot see are examples of these rare and striking moments. Then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked and saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire, all around Elisha. 2 Kings 6:17. This passage shows us how God can open our eyes to see what is hidden from others, revealing His presence and power in extraordinary ways. Imagine being in a moment of great need for guidance or comfort, and suddenly an inexplicable light appears, or shapes that bring a clear message to you. These visions are more than mere hallucinations. They are direct communications from God, intended to catch your attention and direct your path. Paul, on the road to Damascus, was enveloped by a light from heaven and heard the voice of Jesus. This transformative visual encounter is recorded in Acts 9:3-6. It was a moment that not only changed Paul's life, but also had a profound impact on the course of Christianity. Therefore, when these visual experiences occur, be open and attentive. They may be rare, but they are deeply significant. They are moments when the veil between the divine and the human is momentarily lifted, and we are invited to understand a reality greater than our own existence. Embrace these visions as messages from God, divine guidance that illuminates your path and strengthens your faith. And remember, for we walk by faith, not by sight, 2 Corinthians 5:7. Even when the vision passes, the message and purpose behind it remain, guiding and shaping our journey with God. Have you ever had a vision or supernatural experience? Describe it in the comments. Resilience during adversity, strengthened by faith. God does not promise us a life without difficulties, but He assures us of His constant and strengthening presence amid them. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Psalm 46:1. This promise is a pillar for those facing times of adversity, as it reveals that our ability to be resilient and maintain hope is directly strengthened by our connection with the divine. Imagine yourself going through a particularly challenging period. Perhaps you feel pressured on all sides, almost to the point of giving up. However, it is in these moments that the strength that comes from God manifests most clearly. By turning to Him in prayer and meditation, you begin to see not only survival, but growth and purpose in your trials. James reminds us, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance." James 1:2-3. This perspective does not minimize the pain of adversity, but encourages us to see each obstacle as an opportunity for the deepening of our faith and the strengthening of our character. By remaining connected to God, your resilience is fueled by the certainty that every challenge has a divine purpose. This connection brings clarity, even amid chaos, allowing you to see beyond the immediate circumstances. Therefore, when facing adversity, remember that your resilience is evidence of God's presence and power in your life. With Him, you not only weather the storms, but emerge from them stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the plans He has for you. Face each challenge as a chance to grow more firmly anchored in faith, remaining hopeful and resilient no matter what comes. How has your faith helped you overcome challenges? Write your story. Strength in moments of weakness. The divine provision of power. For when I am weak, then I am strong. 2 Corinthians 12:10. This paradox not only challenges our understanding, but opens our eyes to a divine truth. True strength arises in our moments of greatest weakness. Consider those days when you feel completely drained, whether emotionally or physically. In these moments, it seems like every step is a tremendous effort. Yet, it is precisely when our reserves seem depleted that we often experience a sudden and powerful surge of vigor. This strength that springs forth unexpectedly is no accident, but a clear manifestation of God's encouragement. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Isaiah 40:29. When we find ourselves at that point of exhaustion, and suddenly a strength lifts us, this is a tangible sign that God is acting within us. He not only observes our struggle, but envelops us with His powerful presence, transforming our weakness into strength. Therefore, embrace these moments as God's hand extended in your direction. They are reminders that our journey is closely accompanied by the Creator, who strengthens us when we need it most. Each experience of overcoming in these conditions is a testimony to God's faithfulness and power in our lives. In our weaknesses, we find his strength, which enables us to continue and teaches us to depend more deeply on his infinite grace. When have you felt strongest in moments of weakness? Share with us. Impulses to act. When you feel that inner drive, a force pushing you to act, to intervene when something is not right or to reach out to someone in need. Consider this a call from God. He summons us not only to listen, but to act. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. James 1:22. This verse is a direct and powerful reminder. Faith without actions is incomplete faith. Imagine that every time you act, you are stepping into the steps God has laid out for you. To act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God, Micah 6:8, are not just instructions, they are the foundation for a life that reflects the heart of God. Every action you take, driven by justice and compassion, is an echo of divine intentions. And along the way, when fear and doubt threaten to divert you, remember the comforting words of the Lord in Isaiah 41:10. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. God promises not only to be with us, but also to strengthen and help us in our journey. Therefore, when you feel this call, this urgency to act, do not hesitate. God is guiding you to be a force of change and goodness. Respond with courage and faith. Every step you take in response to this impulse is a step towards fulfilling God's divine purpose for your life and a chance to manifest Christ's love in the world. Have you ever felt an impulse to do something good? What happened? Comment below. Comfort in loneliness. In the muffled silence of your loneliness, where each moment stretches interminably, there is a space where God speaks. It is in the shadowy valleys of our isolation that we often feel God's presence most deeply, even though it may initially seem we are completely alone. This is a powerful truth that resonates throughout Scripture. Never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. Hebrews 13:5. Imagine this scene. You are alone, perhaps looking out the window on a grey afternoon, wrapped in your thoughts. The weight of loneliness feels overwhelming. Suddenly, a sensation of warmth, a comfort you cannot explain, fills your heart. It is not the result of an external change. There is no one knocking at your door, no comforting text message, no friendly sound coming from the street. It is an internal presence, a warmth radiating from the inside out. It is God moving in your spirit. Consider the words of Psalm 23:4, so often quoted and so deeply comforting. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Amid the shadow, in the loneliness that can feel like a valley of death, God's promise is that He is there. His rod and staff are not just instruments of direction, but of comfort. They remind us that we are not abandoned flock. We are cared for and guided, even when we least perceive it. This unexpected comfort we feel is a tangible sign of God's presence. He is with us, whispering through the silence, enveloping us in His peace. It is an invitation to change our perspective, from focusing on loneliness to recognizing communion. With God, we are never truly alone. Even in the deepest pits of isolation, He is there, firm and constant. Therefore, the next time you find yourself alone, remember to be attentive to this sudden comfort, this comforting presence. It is God reaffirming, I am here. When this understanding deepens, your loneliness transforms not into a pit of despair, but into a sacred place of encounter with the divine. Have you ever felt divine comfort in moments of loneliness? How was it? Share in the comments. Overcoming addictions or bad habits. When you suddenly find yourself with unexpected strength to break a harmful habit or overcome an addiction, consider it a clear sign of God's grace in your life. It is as if, through this newfound strength, God is extending His hand to pull you out of a dark pit and guide you towards the light of a fuller and healthier existence. So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. John 8:36. This verse speaks not only of spiritual freedom, but of a freedom that permeates all areas of our lives, including our addictions and habits that imprison us. Imagine being chained by your own destructive practices, those you have tried to abandon many times without success. Now imagine these chains being broken, not by extraordinary human effort, but by divine intervention. Consider the story of a man walking in a desert, thirsty and lost, surrounded by sand and despair. Every step is a struggle, every breath a reminder of his weakness. Suddenly, a cool breeze brings with it a small cloud of rain. This rain, though light, is enough to refresh him and give him the strength to find his way home. So it is with God when He frees us from our addictions. He sends the rain of His grace, subtle but powerfully transformative. This sudden strength to overcome an addiction is not just a matter of human will, it is a testament to God's power working within us. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Philippians 4:13. This verse reminds us that our strength does not come from ourselves, but from Christ who dwells within us. Therefore, when you feel this new energy to change, recognize it as God's grace operating in your life. It is not just an opportunity to leave a bad habit, but an invitation to walk more closely with Him, trusting in His strength to guide you on a journey of renewal and true freedom. Have you managed to overcome an addiction or bad habit? Share how God helped you. Restoration after loss. When we face the devastation of a profound loss, whether it is the death of a loved one, the end of a significant relationship, or the loss of something we valued, the grieving process can seem unbearably long and lonely. However, if in the midst of this suffering we find moments of recovery and peace, we should recognize these signs as manifestations of God's grace, offering comfort and the promise of a new beginning. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. This verse reminds us that even in the darkest seasons of our lives, God's plans for us are for our good, to bring us hope and a future. Imagine yourself walking through a dense and dark forest, the ground still wet with recent rains, the air heavy with the scent of earth. Each step, the sadness of loss weighs on your shoulders like a mantle. But as you continue, you begin to notice small rays of sunlight breaking through the treetops, illuminating the path ahead. Gradually, the path becomes clearer and the forest less oppressive. This light, though subtle, is deeply comforting. This light is like God's presence in our lives after a loss. It may not immediately dispel all darkness, but it brings with it the promise of peace and newness of life. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. Revelation 21:4. This passage not only comforts, but also offers a vision of a future where suffering and pain are transformed into healing and renewal. Therefore, if you start to feel peace or a new openness in your life after a period of closure, receive it as a touch from God. It is Him working in the midst of your grief, guiding you out of the darkness and into the light of a new day. This is not just a temporary restoration, but an invitation to walk a renewed path of faith and trust in God's eternal plan for your life. Have you felt God's presence after a loss? How did He restore your life? Leave your comment. Providential encounters. Sometimes on the journey of life, we cross paths with people who seem to be sent directly by God, bringing with them new directions and opportunities. These encounters, though they may seem like mere coincidence, often carry the weight of divine providence. Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by so doing, some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it. Hebrews 13:2. This verse reminds us that every interaction can be a divine intervention, a moment when heaven touches earth through the kindness of a stranger or the wisdom of a new friend. Imagine yourself at a busy crossroads of life, surrounded by the confusion and clamor of everyday life. Suddenly, you meet someone whose words or actions offer a clear path forward. This person might be a long-lost friend, a new colleague, or even a stranger on the bus. However, the connection you feel is immediate and deeply meaningful. Consider the story of Philip and the Ethiopian eunuch in Acts 8:26-39. Philip, guided by the Holy Spirit, meets a stranger on a deserted road. He approaches, shares the gospel, and the eunuch's life is forever transformed. Similarly, God places people in our paths to guide us, comfort us, and open doors we could never open alone. Therefore, when you meet someone who brings a new direction or opportunity into your life, see it as a providential encounter, one of the ways God shows us that we do not walk alone. Such encounters are tangible reminders of God's presence, encouraging us to look beyond appearances and recognize the divine hand in every relationship we cultivate. They are truly earthly angels placed in our path to remind us of God's infinite attention and care. Have you had an encounter that seemed providential? Share your story. Protection in moments of danger. In moments of danger, when we find ourselves face to face with circumstances that threaten our safety, an inexplicable protection that envelops us can be nothing less than the hand of God acting in our favor. The Lord is my rock, my fortress and my deliverer. My God is my rock in whom I take refuge. He is my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. Psalm 18:2. This biblical promise is not just spiritual comfort. It reflects a reality experienced by those who encounter divine protection in critical moments. Imagine yourself crossing a busy road, cars speed by, and one mistake could be fatal. Suddenly, an impulse makes you stop just in time to avoid a speeding vehicle. In that instant, you feel a force beyond your own awareness, guiding you away from danger. This is not mere coincidence. It is God's providence in action. Consider the biblical account of Daniel in the lion's den, Daniel 6. Facing certain death, Daniel is miraculously protected. The lions do not harm him, and he is taken out of the den without a scratch. Daniel's protection is not by chance. It is a testament to God's power to preserve his faithful, even in the most terrifying circumstances. Therefore, if you have ever experienced a moment when an inexplicable protection saved you from potential harm, recognize it as a divine intervention. God does not promise that we will never face dangers, but he assures us that in every challenge, his presence is constant, protecting, guiding, and offering refuge. In every dangerous situation you overcome, see God's hand moving powerfully to ensure your safety and well-being. Have you ever felt protected by a greater force? Tell us your experience. Moments of unexpected joy. When a smile suddenly breaks across your face, or laughter arises out of nowhere during simple moments, playing with children, walking among trees, or sharing laughs with friends, consider it a gift from God. These are moments of unprovoked joy, sent by God as reminders of life's beauties and blessings. Satisfy us in the morning with your unfailing love, that we may sing for joy and be glad all our days. Psalm 90:14. This verse captures the essence of how God desires to fill our days with joy, even through the most ordinary activities. Imagine an ordinary afternoon, walking through a park. The sun filters through the leaves, children play in the distance, and the world seems at peace. Suddenly you find yourself smiling, touched by the beauty of the moment, a feeling of contentment and peace flooding your being. It is not just the setting that brings joy, but a deeper presence, a whisper from God saying, "I am here." These flashes of happiness are like little nods from God, reminding us to appreciate the wonders of creation and the simple blessings of everyday life. They serve to reorient us to what truly matters: relationships, the beauty of the natural world, and God's continuous presence in our journey. Therefore, when you experience this sudden and unprovoked joy, see it as a divine sign, an intentionally placed blessing on your path. With each shared laugh and each moment of delight in the small things, remember that God is weaving joy into the fabric of your life, reminding you always to value and be grateful for the many daily graces. What was an unexpected moment of joy you believe came from God? Write in the comments. Unexpected life changes. When life throws abrupt changes at us, a sudden job change, an unexpected move to a new city, or the beginning and ending of relationships, we can see these twists as divine directions. Such moments can indeed be signs of God pushing us toward a new trajectory, filled with growth and new opportunities. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. Proverbs 3:5-6. This verse is an anchor in times of change. It calls us to trust in God deeply, especially when the path ahead seems uncertain. Imagine standing before a rushing river that needs to be crossed. The water flows rapidly and you see no bridge. Suddenly the waters calm and a trail of stones emerges, creating a path across the river. This is the image of unexpected changes in our lives. In the moment, they may seem tumultuous and frightening, but God, in His sovereignty, may be calming the waters to show us a path that was previously hidden. These transitions, whether in work, home, or relationships, though challenging, are often laden with promises. They invite us to step out of complacency and explore new frontiers, just as Abraham was called to leave his land and go to a place he would later receive as an inheritance, Genesis 12:1. We are often called to leave the familiar behind in search of new horizons that God has prepared for us. Therefore, face each unexpected change not as a setback, but as a divine opportunity. Each new direction can be an invitation to grow, to expand your limits, and to discover new ways to serve God and others. As you face these changes, keep your trust firmly anchored in the Lord, knowing that He is faithful to guide you through each new chapter of your life. Have you experienced unexpected changes that turned out for the better? How did God guide you? Share. Creative inspiration. When you are taken by a moment of creative clarity, whether while writing, painting, making music, or engaging in any other form of artistic expression, consider it as a form of divine communication. God often reveals Himself and speaks to us through the arts, using these moments of inspiration to convey messages, feelings, and deep thoughts that we need to explore or express. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. Ecclesiastes 3:1. This verse reminds us that God designates specific moments to reveal His purposes, including through our creativity. Imagine yourself sitting in front of a blank canvas, an empty sheet of paper, or a silent musical instrument. Suddenly an idea emerges, clear and bright like a ray of sunshine breaking through clouds on a rainy day. This vision is not just a product of your imagination. It is an inspiration that transcends the ordinary, almost as if God is painting, writing, or playing through you. This moment of creation can feel magical, a direct connection with something greater than yourself. As David expressed in many psalms, such as Psalm 51:10, "Create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me." David asks God to shape and inspire him, recognizing that all true creation comes from a divine source. Therefore, when you find yourself in these moments of creative inspiration, embrace them as gifts from God, ways in which He chooses to communicate and interact with the world through you. They are opportunities for you to delve deeper into the themes that weigh on your heart, to question, to celebrate, and to lament. These moments are truly sacred, a space where the divine meets the human on the canvas of creativity. When have you felt divinely inspired? What was the result? Tell us. Synchronicities. When events in life seem too coincidental to be mere chance, consider that it might be God trying to catch your attention. These synchronicities, like meeting someone who says exactly what you needed to hear or accidentally stumbling upon a book that answers your deepest questions, are often divine signs. "For I know the plans I have for you," declares the Lord. "Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Jeremiah 29:11. This verse reminds us that God is always working in our lives, even in the minutiae. Imagine being in a cafe flipping through a book when a nearby conversation captures your attention. The person next to you talks about exactly what's on your heart. Or perhaps you are walking through a bookstore and, unintentionally, a book falls off the shelf with the answers you were seeking. These are not mere coincidences. They are God moving the pieces of your life, orchestrating encounters and events to guide you. Remember the story of Philip and the Ethiopian eunuch in Acts 8:26-39. Philip was guided by the Holy Spirit to an encounter that would change the eunuch's life. Similarly, God often guides us to encounters and events that seem coincidental but are planned by Him. When you notice these synchronicities, pay attention. They are like whispers from God, a way for Him to say, "I am here, guiding you." It is a reminder that God is present in all the details of our lives, leading us toward good. Therefore, open your eyes and ears to these synchronicities. See them as divine signs, opportunities to recognize God's hand in your life. They are reminders that you are on the right path, that God is working, often in ways we don't immediately perceive, to bring us where we need to be. Have you experienced coincidences that seem divine? Share your synchronicities. If these signs have opened your eyes, don't miss out on anything else. Subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and share this video. Stay alert. God is always trying to connect with you. See you next time.